What is up, Yankee fans? I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees, and it's both a fun stream to do to kind of end the year here, and also a little bit of a sad one in the sense that this is our final stream of the 2025 year. It's crazy to kind of look back and say that the year is over. We really appreciate you guys being here and being supportive, and whether it was watching streams in the beginning of the year and watching videos and watching all of our shorts, or you just started watching these streams this offseason, you've just joined the Fireside family, whether you've been here since I started in 2021, or this is your first year along the ride, we really appreciate your continued support here on the Fireside Yankees YouTube channel. Make sure to check us out on social media as well. We have an Instagram, a TikTok, a Twitter, a Facebook, and of course this YouTube page as well. There's so much for us to talk about here tonight because there's some Tatsuya in my updates. Obviously the Yankees not really involved there anymore. I mean, I'm going to be frank with you guys. I simply don't believe they'll end up signing Tatsuya, but we'll get into that in a bit and kind of my feelings and thoughts and emotions on where his market has gone and whether the Yankees should have remained opportunistic or should remain opportunistic or not. So we'll kind of go from there. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have, it's weird. I don't really have the best of like outlines in terms of updates. There isn't a lot going on in the Yankee world, and you know, it's not your fault, it's not my fault, it's nobody's fault. The Yankees have not done anything. They haven't done anything new in the last 48, 72 2 weeks. I mean, they haven't done anything. I guess the Amed Rosario signing became official, but I think we can all agree that is not something we're going to make a big storyline about. So let's get going. Just let's do a little bit of a roll call here. If you guys are here on the Fireside Yankees live stream live, make sure to send in a Let's Go Yankees, and then we'll get straight into your questions. But again, send a Let's Go Yankees so we can get things started here, and I can do a little bit of a roll call. Again, thank you for tuning in on this Saturday night on such short notice. Let's start with the questions. I feel like we just have to get into this right now. And the first one is from MLB Channel Guy. I would take Gore over Peralta just because he has more control. Peralta only 1 year. I think it depends on like the price point. The price of acquisition always matters in these conversations. Gore costs less money for 2026, but Freddie Peralta I think is the better pitcher. I do think there's a little bit of like smoke with Peralta in terms of like the strikeout to walk rates are good, but he does have some damage prevention issues. I mean, Gore also has like damage prevention issues, and he doesn't have as good of a strikeout to walk rate, but maybe you can argue there's more upside with Gore. I mean, you can go back and forth here on Gore and Peralta and the pros and cons of both. Now, if everything is equal, I would sit here and tell you that I would rather have Freddie Peralta in terms of prospect cost because Peralta is better for the immediate future and a rental. If I'm factoring in, like, I think Peralta's going to get more back in a trade potentially because I don't think the Brewers are going to be as compelled to trade for him. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, that's where I'm at. But we'll kind of see from there. Again, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. Now, if you guys can like again, we'd really appreciate it. You know, again, really appreciate the support, but I would love to if you guys could just send more likes in. Look, keep it going with Surreal Morley, 1910. I would take Gore because more control, years, and younger. Totally fair. Cam Schlittler, I disagree a bit with the pitching being a disaster, especially early when the pitchers seem to be ahead of hitters. Look, I don't think that the issue is that if the Yankees are healthy, they're going to have issues pitching. I don't think that's the case. I think the if healthy is such a big question mark that the Yankees need to go out and get a starter. And I've said this time and time again, I do not believe the New York Yankees rotation is in a spot where they could be comfortable with what they have because at the end of the day, you're going to lose arms. I wrote a column this morning on EmpireSportsMedia.com where I kind of detailed the path it took for the Yankees to even get their starting five this past year when they had about 8 or 9 rotation options at various points throughout the 2025 spring training process, and they lost Cole. They lost Schmidt for a little bit. They lost Teal for a couple months to start the year. People forget they lost Brubaker, who was like a depth starter, but they lost him during spring training. You can lose, like, you're going to lose guys. You're going to lose maybe 3 guys. And you can't really determine whether those guys are going to be good players or big-time pieces, whether that's a Max Fried or, someone who is of less significance, I guess like a Paul Blackburn for this kind of comparison. Again, it's not to besmirch or sit here and tell you certain, you want certain guys to get hurt. You don't. That's not what I'm trying to say here. It's just saying you cannot control the quality of pitcher who gets hurt, and it seems to always be more than one pitcher getting hurt. So that's kind of where I'm at there, and that's why I really emphasize the team's need for a starting pitcher. Do you see a world, and this is from Joe Sid Finn, do you see a world where the Yankees reconsider MI if it goes down to 2 to 3 years and a more manageable AAV, or full stop out? Well, look, the market and the industry has a lot of concerns about Imai's off-field stuff. Not that he's a criminal or anything of the sort. I mean, there's just a little bit of like, hey, what's the maturity level at? How much should we invest in this guy? How good is this pitcher? Is he a number 1 starter? Is he a number 3 starter? Teams seem to believe this is a number 3 starter, not a number 1 starter. And that's obviously going to be something that matters a lot. So, I think at the end of the day, the issues with Tatsuya Imai is that he is not an ace and he's being valued as an ace. Do I think the New York Yankees should be out on like a 2-3 year pact? No, I think the Yankees should be all the way in on a 2-3 year pact for Imai and his services, because at that point, that is a really, 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 really productive player to have on a cheap deal, who's young, who you can have on your rotation. And look, the Yankees, they can take an upside swing in the rotation, because if you have Imai, then you've got multiple arms, and like Imai, you can kind of send him to the bullpen, you can have him opt out of his deal, you can decline options for the contract, depending on where that kind of goes from there. But you just need bodies, too. Like, there is a desperate need for bodies here. I pointed out on Twitter the depth chart for the Yankees, the Yankee depth chart. There is a lot of concern there, in my opinion, because the Yankee depth chart, pitching-wise, is really, I mean, it's not good. So we'll kind of take a look here, and we'll look at the graphic I have up here. And if you guys can keep sending likes, it'd be great. Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, Luis Seal, Ryan Yarbrough. I mean, it's not a great rotation, but you obviously understand you're going to get Rodon and Cole back potentially at some point throughout the season. But look at the backup options. Paul Blackburn, Elmer Rodriguez, Brennan Beck. First and foremost, Paul Blackburn is someone the Yankees would prefer to have in a reliever role. That's been stated by Jack Curry. I'm going to put on my glasses so I can make sure I read my notes, because I always overestimate how far I can see. But Paul Blackburn is someone that Jack Curry noted the Yankees believe his stuff will play up as a reliever. He did not mention this kind of optimism as a starter. In fact, he didn't talk about Yarbrough as a starter much at all. Maybe as depth, but that Ryan Yarbrough would likely win out a starting battle with Blackburn. Makes sense. Blackburn, not a good starting pitcher, never a good starting pitcher in his major league career. Has that one all-star appearance, but that was gifted to him. He was not good. That's just to fill the every team needs an all-star quota. And if you remember, some of those A's teams are really freaking bad. Elmer Rodriguez has just 1 start above the AA level. 2 if you consider a playoff start where, look, he got crushed. Like, Elmer Rodriguez, it would benefit him. It would behoove the Yankees to not have to force Rodriguez to come up so soon, given that the AA ball and the AAA/Major League ball is different. The balls they use in AAA are the ones they use in the major leagues, but the ones they use below AAA are different. They're slicker. They spin better. They generate more movement. Movement tends to contract, especially on your fastballs, as you shift to these new baseballs. So for Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, the Yankees are going to need to find a way to get him to be more comfortable throwing that ball, commanding that ball, spinning that ball. We've seen Warren struggle with command, throwing the AAA and big league ball compared to the AA ball. It's just a different ball game. And when we again, kind of going back to Elmer Rodriguez, forcing a guy with that little experience above the AA level to have to start for you, if one guy, not 2, not 3, one guy gets hurt, is crazy. And then Brendan Beck, he's listed on here, but he's not on the 40-man roster. He was Rule 5 eligible, meaning the Yankees had the choice to either A, put him on the 40-man roster, or B, let him go unprotected in the Rule 5 draft as a AAA pitcher who can make a major league start potentially for you, and nobody selected him. So the Yankees left him unprotected, and nobody selected him. Those are 2 kisses of death, essentially, in terms of your current standing in the league. Now, it's not to say you can't get better. That's not, like, obviously guys have overcome this. I mean, Nestor Cortez was once left unprotected, got returned, and he ended up producing some of the best years in his career after the fact. But when it comes to when it comes to the Yankees, they need, and I do mean this, they need to build insurance beyond what they have right now. They might need 2 starters. It might mean bringing in a minor league free agent, someone who doesn't have a guaranteed roster spot, but can at least compete for a job with some upside. Maybe it's bringing in somebody such as, bringing in that impact starter. You want to be in a situation where you are bringing in impact starting pitching, you have impact starting pitching, and you've got enough options where you do not, like Cole and Rodon don't have to be in your playoff rotation if depending on your roster. So, and yeah, this was also noted. Zachary Goldstein points this out. Curry also said he wouldn't mind Yarbrough being the 5. They can't go with Yarbrough as the 5 to open the year in a fully healthy rotation. They do not have the firepower to do it, and more importantly, they need guys behind Yarbrough who are better than the guys in between, or at least more major league experience than Elmer Rodriguez, better than Beck, better than Paul Blackburn as a starter. Keep Blackburn in the bullpen. Do I think there's upside in Blackburn as a reliever? Potentially. There is no upside in him as a starter. He should never touch the mound as a consistent, Blackburn should not be for April he got 5 starts in a row. Nope. Burning the signing at that point. Ruining the value of the signing at that point. Ruining the value of the player. Ruining the value of the offseason where he can go in there and maybe focus on honing in 2-3 pitches like Weaver did. Maybe going into spring training, throwing a little bit harder because he knows he doesn't have to throw as many innings. These are things that you need to be training Blackburn for. The same way Weaver was like, all right, I'm a fastball changeup guy. That is who I am. I throw a curveball every now and then, but that is fundamentally who I am. He did not go into spring training throwing, fastball, cutter, that bad sweeper he had, slider. Like he threw 2 pitches essentially, maybe a third if you want to count the cutter, but he was very much a contracted pitch mix guy. Blackburn needs to be doing the same thing. Focus on 2 or 3 pitches you really like. I think the Yankees need to get the slider to a manageable point. I think the changeup could be a good pitch for him, but got to leave him in the bullpen. They have got to, and I truly mean this, they have got to get that guy in between Schlittler and Warren, if not in between, or if possible, in between Fried and Schlittler to open the season. And that guy could get hurt. I mean, shit happens. Let's keep talking about Amai here. It's over. I'm sorry, that's a funny name. /-XI7TR says, are the White Sox the favorites for Amai, and what are the chances in percentage of the Yankees signing and landing him? Look, I'd say the Yankees have a firmly below 50%, firmly below 25%. I'd say a 5 to 10% chance. I don't see them signing him at all. And I think the White Sox will end up signing him. And yes, that Yahoo Japan report mentioned us, but again, I don't think the Yankees are signing him. Can the Mets sign Cody Artie? Yankees acts like this guy's all that. He's not Juan Soto. He's not Kyle Tucker. It's crazy. Look, I think it's crazy the Yankees are not acquiring pitching. Why are we not getting pitching already? You need to get pitching. 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 Sorry. Not concerned about Cam at all. He's had all the tools, good attitude, and will get better with time. Look, I think Cam will be better than his projected 4.2 or 4.1 ERA. But the issue is, again, and this is not specific to him, this could happen to anybody. All it takes is him getting hurt. All it takes is him getting hurt. All it takes is him getting hurt. Or somebody getting hurt. And suddenly you don't have as much data or you don't have much firepower in your rotation as you thought you'd have. You need to go out and improve some way, somehow, that rotation, get a number 2 or a number 3 starter. Ryan, did you hear about John Heyman claiming the Yankees are interested in Bo Bichette? I have not heard about that. I have not. What happened to the Edward Cabrera noise? The Marlins are asking for a ton for him. This is what the Marlins have done with Sandy and Edward Cabrera. We're shopping him. He's available. They're available. This guy's available. You can trade for him. Ask for the moon. Don't trade him. We can't have the pitching staff be similar to the 2025 Mets where they swap out pitchers every day. Well, you know what? Here's what I'll tell you, Zachary. At least they had pitchers to swap out. Dude, we got fucking Paul Blackburn. It's Paul Blackburn who, again, this is a guy you slap in your bullpen. This is a guy you use as a bullpen project reliever, not a guy who gets starts every 5th day for any period of time. Don't tell me, it's 1 month. No. You have to have him go into spring training being told you are going to focus on being a reliever. And then when it comes to the other guys, again, if they have to rush, Elmer Rodriguez, look, if he shows up to camp, He's 96.5 miles per hour, throwing about a tick harder on the sinker, and he's just destroying people in spring training. And injuries open up. Two guys go down, a guy goes down, whatever. And they go, hey, I'd rather have you than Ryan Yarbrough in this rotation. Okay. Like, that's all right. Like, that's different. But if it's a situation where it's, one guy's down, Elmer, you got to step up. You got to be the guy. That, I think, is crazy. And I think Elmer's good. He's good. But, again, like, dude, why would you want to build your roster around having to rely on Elmer Rodriguez immediately stepping up and being that guy? That is crazy. Even Cam Schlittler, who was phenomenal. First off, better prospect than Elmer. Cam Schlittler, his prospect ranking does not do him justice. Cam Schlittler should have been a top 50 prospect in baseball when he graduated. He should have been a top 50 prospect, maybe even a top 40 prospect when he graduated. That guy, you want to say Tolley, McLean, and like who else was like better than this guy? Oh, Jonah Tong's good. Like Jonah Tong's in that conversation, but he was not a better. He's not a better prospect. Like looking at the stuff, no. I am taking Cam Schlittler over Jonah Tong as a prospect. Knowing what we knew by the 5 starts into their big league careers. Bubba Chandler and Andrew Painter. Oh, Thomas White I would take Thomas White as like a prospect. This is not factoring in their major league development, just as a prospect. Thomas White, Peyton Tolley, and even then, like Peyton Tolley doesn't really have a field for secondaries, but it's such a good fastball. Tolley, White, McLean I think McLean's number 1. Do I feel like Painter's better than Schlittler? No. Point is, there should have been like maybe 20 prospects, 30 prospects in baseball you had. Robbie Snelling's a good pull, but like there should have been like 25 to 35 prospects better than Cam Schlittler. It is crazy to me. So like Elmer Rodriguez should not be held to the standard of a guy who was like a top 5 pitching prospect, arguably the best pitching prospect in baseball when he graduated. That is how good Schlittler peaked as a prospect. The fastball's disgusting. Cutter's gross. Sinker, it's not even a good shape. He just throws so fucking hard. It doesn't matter. Curveball's good. Like this guy rocks. We're aware of this. Schlittler's a dude. Schlittler's a dog. Actually, I shouldn't say that he should have been number 1. Like McLean should have been the best pitching prospect in baseball, probably in hindsight. McLean's ridiculous. McLean is like a top 25 pitcher in baseball already. That is a different conversation, though. As we talk about, the Elmer conversation, though, Elmer is more comparable. Like, Elmer's, I think, a better prospect than Will Warren. I think he's a better prospect than Luis Heel was. I think he's I'm trying to think of recent graduates. King wasn't a great prospect. He was a good prospect, not a great one. Schmidt was a really good prospect when healthy. Probably a better, was Schmidt at his peak a better prospect than Elmer? Like, I'd say relative to what we knew then, yes, but maybe with what we knew now, no. So, like, would Elmer be, and obviously, obviously, like, I wouldn't sit here and tell you that he's better than Severino. Severino was, probably the best pitching prospect the Yankees have had in the last decade. And I know people are saying, like, you're setting him up for disappointment. Like, Paul knows, I don't think we're setting Cam up for disappointment by saying, if you look at the guys who the Yankees, if you look at, and I hear turn up my mind. Is that like unironic, or are you guys just like joking with me? Like I I can be very loud, so I apologize. But if you are being serious, yeah. In regard to Cam, though, I'm not trying to set you up and tell you that this guy's a superstar. I'm just telling you, like, Cam Schlittler, as a prospect, is a clearly better prospect than Elmer Rodriguez. Like, there is a tier gap between him and Elmer, and him and Cam Schlittler. So I say that to tell you, Cam Schlittler also started with big-time struggles when he opened his big league career in 2025. Like, there was a stretch where Cam Schlittler could not miss bats, and he was giving up home runs left and right. Like, he was very fortunate that his ERA was not worse over that stretch. By the time he figured it out, by the time he, like, clicked, he was awesome. He deserved the results he got. Like, by August, Cam Schlittler had evolved into this, like, guy who should be a low 3s, mid 3s ERA pitcher. I'll say mid-threes. But before that, Cam Schlittler was a bad pitcher because that's normal. That's what happens. You're going to be bad usually when you come to the big leagues. Elmer Rodriguez has better command. He's got better pitchability than Schlittler, but he does not have the upper end stuff that Schlittler has. He does not have the upper echelon stuff that Cam Schlittler has. You should not expect him to produce at that kind of level, and that is the thing I think the Yankees are being dangerously close to doing, and that is forcing Rodriguez to essentially bail them out the way that and I did see your joke, Zachary. I'm sorry. I keep losing the chat when I clear tabs. But I did get your joke. He is a glue guy. Technically supposed to be the glue guy. He isn't the glue guy yet. That's good. But look, I just think Elmer's good. I like Elmer Rodriguez a lot as a prospect. But you just can't put that pressure on him. And Paul knows, you know what? This is a good point too. I just don't want him to have number 2 pressure out the gates. We need a front of the rotation arm, but I doubt that happens. No, I mean, I agree that you don't want Cam Schlittler to have to be your number 2 starter, or else the season kind of goes to shit. Even Mackenzie Gore, I don't think Mackenzie Gore is more talented than Schlittler, but he is someone who can take those expectations, or somebody who can, he's been the ace of the Nationals. I don't think it's gonna kill him to be told, hey, you're our game 2/game 3 starter. Even putting a true number 3 starter, which I think Gore is right now. I know people are gonna say, look at his ERA. His ERA is league average. He's been a league average pitcher the last 2 years in terms of ERA, but underlying results have been really good. This is a number 3 starter. I think that if you have a number 3 next to Cam Schlittler even, it puts less pressure even then, because it's all right, if you're both number 3s and Heel and Warren are number 4, number 5 types, they're decent. If Warren is what he, a better version of what he was last year, if he's a 4 ERA flat, 4 FIP flat, and Heel's a 4 ERA flat, 4 FIP flat, and, Gore and Schlittler are 3.8 ERA guys, you're going to have a really good rotation. That's awesome. That's a really freaking good rotation. That'll work, but you need that extra guy, right? You need that extra guy. Joe Burden, Cole, my boy Joe over here, Cole Fried, Rodon, Gore, Skeens. Wow, go get Gore right now, dude. If we ever end up with Paul Skeens, I'm buying that jersey immediately. When rotation gets healthy, you can be the 4 or the 5. Yeah, and that's part of it too, but when healthy is always a big question mark. That's always a big question mark. And I always say that about pitching health. If high velocity dudes is from Yanks lovers seem to work well, Schlitt, not saying he is near though, here's level though. Can we put LaGrange in the bullpen to open the season? In that case, the Yankees can do nothing to upgrade the pen. In the case that the Yankees do nothing to upgrade the pen, well, I don't think that Carlos LaGrange, who ended the year in Double-A, don't want to give up on him as a starter yet. And I'm not saying putting him in the bullpen for a period of time is giving up on him as a starter, but you are changing the workload, and he still needs to develop. And I think those innings as a starter at the minor league level are going to be valuable enough that you should not be forcing that just yet on him. Now, next year, if he struggles with his command and we're not really seeing the kind of results you're hoping for, then yeah, I would start kind of pushing that and let him get MLB reps and kind of go from there. But as I look at things right now, I think LaGrange should get another chance to be a starter. He did a great enough job. Last year, he was incredible, I thought, last year. Let's keep going with here. I think the Yankees won that trade. Narvi, not that good. I think Carlos Narvaez is an above-average starting catcher. He's such a good defender. And I mean, offensively, I don't expect him to really hit that well. I think a 97 WRC plus, similar OPS plus. I think that's probably the best he'll ever produce. But I mean, it's not impossible for him to get better as a hitter. Narvaez has real power, and he's again an elite level defender. And I always sit here and I talk about I talk about prospects and I talk about young players. I'm hey, these guys can be pretty solid hitters. I mean, I personally don't think that Carlos Narvaez is going to end up being a good hitter, but I don't think it's impossible. He does swing the bat not that hard, but he does have some juice in the bat. He does have a good exit velo. He has that Fenway left field if he pulls the ball a little more. I don't know if he can give in any more contact for pull side power, but if he ever could, that'd be good for him. He is in his physical prime. This is his physical peak. Catchers tend to kind of burn down sooner, but he's such a good defender, and I think that the defense is such a big part of this conversation. Again, if he's I think he slightly overperformed the underlying metrics. Again, he plays in Boston. I expect it. I expect his batting average on balls in play to be pretty good compared to other hitters because, again, he's a Fenway guy. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, again, this is a guy who, he profiles well for Fenway. It's like saying if the Yankees brought back Bellinger, like, oh, well, if he wasn't a Yankee, then he wouldn't be that good. It's like, well, he's a Yankee, so who cares, right? Again, Narvaez is good. I don't think Narvaez is special. I think that Rodriguez still has to become something in order for this to be a win for the Yankees. If Rodriguez is not ever a good big leaguer, then this is a loss for the Yankees. But if Rodriguez is, a number 3 to number 4 starter for 6 seasons, like, yeah, he's a better player. He's a better value piece. You get more out of the deal if you're the team with Rodriguez, but there is value for the Red Sox in saying, hey, in our contention window, we got a catcher, and, we would have had a hard time finding a catcher elsewhere. I think it's a nuanced contract. Or trade, sorry. Severino was nasty in his prime. Yeah, John. He was disgusting. Weird idea, sign Justin Verlander. I actually, and that's baseball mentioned this, signing Chris Bassett. And I don't love Chris Bassett. I'm not in love with it. Don't love Chris Bassett. We'll never love Chris Bassett. Think he's okay. I think I wanted him when he hit free agency, or when he got traded to the Mets. That was the year I really wanted him. Outside of that, doesn't have a qualifying pick attached. Maybe it's a 1+1 deal. But again, if the Yankees are going to sign a pitcher, just sign him out of that contract at that point. To that $20 million a year, whatever it may be, kind of contract. But Verlander is I wouldn't like Verlander. I don't think it'd be a good addition, but he's Justin Verlander, I guess. Let's see what else. The Yankees need to upgrade the offense. The left side of the infield is miserably bad. Well, look, I tend to disagree. I think I have a very optimistic view of the offense because, number one, I'm an absolute loser when it comes to projection systems. I personally really, really buy into projections. I've always been kind of a guy who buys into them. But also because, I don't know, on paper, I think they should be good. This is not even it would kind of stun me if the group was just straight up bad. And I say that because they have Aaron Judge, which is a big part of this conversation, whether we want to hear that or not. Aaron Judge is a big part of that conversation. And I think they have enough platoon guys at bad positions of offensive need that they can make it work. Rosario and McMahon should produce a 100 OPS, I think, right? McMahon is about a league. I think since 2021, I did the math on a live stream. He's been a league average hitter against righties. And then against lefties, obviously Rosario is an incredible hitter. So, if McMahon puts up a 100 OPS plus, and Rosario puts up a 120 OPS plus against lefties, but let's say, it's more of a 110 OPS plus in the season because, he's going to get matchups against righties eventually, then, that's a 100, maybe 105 OPS plus kind of guy. That's not a great hitter outcome, but it's average to above average, and the Yankees got nothing out of third base. I say it time and time again. Everyone kind of goes, well, you're running it back at the same team, blah, 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 this, that, and third. And it's I get it. Pitching-wise, if they do that, I'd be pissed. They need to add a starter. Offensively, I mentioned, I really want Tucker. I really want Tucker, and I'm upset that that's not gonna be what happens. That upsets me dearly. And, that's why I'm still gonna, you get two kind of things that I'll say. I will both give credence to the argument that the Yankees could be doing more this winter and that they could be doing more to make this team a World Series contender. And by not doing that, they have earned criticism that they're going to naturally get from their fans. I also have sat here and said, hey, I don't think this is a bad team. I think this is currently a good team, and that if they can get Bellinger back and add some pieces pitching-wise, this can be a pretty damn good team. Because offensively, they've got so much depth, more than people think. I know that people kind of look at the Yankee offense and goes, if you take out Aaron Judge, this ends up happening. And yeah, look, if I took fucking Shohei Ohtani off the Dodgers, they wouldn't be that good. If I took, and you can go, oh, well, look at what they have outside of that. If I took off a 9-WAR player, the team is a good team. It's just not, it's above average. You take Ohtani out, it's a big fucking loss. But you look at the Blue Jays, and I think they've done a really good job of building a deep roster. But even if you took Vlad out, dude, you take Vlad out, man, you feel a little nervous. You feel a little bit nervous. And I just sit here and I say, why is that conversation only really there with the Yankees? I think you can expect Grisham to be an above-average hitter, Rice to be an above-average hitter. Stanton, like, I would expect it, but there is some crash and burn risk, like real crash and burn risk here. Jazz, I expect to be a good hitter. Like, the idea that Jazz is not a good hitter or like relying on him to be a good hitter is dumb, is crazy to me. All he's done with the Yankees is hit. Like, we have, what, like 170 games with the Yankees at this point where he has been like 25 to 30% better than league average. Dodgers have way more talent. Freeman's obviously, like, Freeman's clearly like the best individual career guy. I mean, Betts is too. But, like, do we forget what Mookie Betts did last year? Mookie Betts had a 104 WRC plus last year. He had a 326 on base, 406 slug. If this was a New York Yankee, you would tell me this guy's washed. You would tell me that this guy's washed. That's what you would tell me. That is what you would tell me. Freddie Freeman, he was a good hitter this year, 139 WRC plus. He was a few percentage points better offensively than Ben Rice in that same statistic. Now, granted, I would rather, like, but he's 30. Like, there are, if we strip the names and we look at the players, the career trajectory, the back of the baseball cards, projections, like, you're not going to sit here and tell me that there are no, like, you took out Ohtani, you're not going to feel it. What are we talking about? Now, I think the difference with the Dodgers is having Freeman, having Will Smith, having Max Muncy. Freeman, I think, would be the second best hitter on the Yankees. I would also sit here and argue, I would make the argument that despite kind of the ups and downs with Will Smith's bat, like, he's had this really good year this past year, but for like 3 years, or like the 2 years before that, he was a good, not great hitter. Like, I would personally say that I'd rather have, like, I think Will Smith would be the second best hitter on the Yankees as well, just because of his, well, Ben Rice also has the combination of power and contact, but, like, I don't know. I really like Will Smith. I've always really liked Will Smith. That's just kind of where I'm at offensively with him. And you could DH him more because he'd be on the Yankees and Wells and like this, down, whatever. Andy Pajes is a ridiculously underrated outfielder, really good defender, good hitter. But like Hyesung Kim is going to get everyday reps for them as things stand right now. Hyesung Kim is not a big league player. Hyesung Kim sucks. Oh, he had a higher OPS plus than Volpe. He strikes out 30% of the time. He doesn't hit the ball hard. This guy was very fortunate to be a competitive hitter this past year. He's not good. Teoscar Hernandez was a bad big league baseball player compared to his standards. Like, barely above average hitter, 102 OPS plus, 247 average, 284 on base. Terrible defensive outfielder. This is a very flawed player, and this is a guy who's only a year older. Tommy Edman. I like Tommy Edman as a defensive player. Tommy Edman, better underlying metrics than his results showed, but last year was kind of the inverse. This is a career below average hitter. This is a guy who hit 225 with 274 on base. He was a worse hitter than Anthony Volpe offensively in terms of results. Better underlying metrics, but even then it's like hit the ball pretty hard. Not really. Doesn't hit the ball hard. Doesn't walk a lot. Makes a lot of contact. Like, that's cool. He's a really versatile defensive player. And if Edman was available, like, I'd like him on the Yankees because he can hit lefties. And the Yankees need that. But even in that role, I mean, against lefties this year, had a 694 OPS. Again, like, that's three. I mean, 3 of the Dodgers starters might struggle to put up 1 WAR this year. Right? Andy Pajes is very underrated, though. Andy Pajes is a ridiculously good defensive corner outfielder and a pretty damn good defensive center fielder compared to what people think of him. But at the very least, like, an elite defensive corner outfielder and above average hitter. I know the second half, I think, wasn't so good for him. Doesn't have a great walk rate, but I like Andy Pajes. I believe in Andy Pajes. Point in all this is to say, like, the Dodgers have flaws offensively. Like, deep flaws offensively. What I think separates them is top-end talent. They have 2 Hall of Famers still kicking in their prime. And Freeman, like, Freeman isn't MVP Freeman, but he's still like 140 OPS plus Freddie Freeman. And Shohei is obviously just ridiculous at baseball. And Betts is not as good of a hitter as he was before, but a really good defensive shortstop. So, like, he's around a 3 WAR player. Like, he's still productive. He's not a terrible baseball player. Will Smith is a top 10 catcher easily. Max Muncy still can really mash. Andy Pajes, underrated, as I mentioned. Like, the Dodgers, I think, have a better lineup than the Yankees. I agree with this. I'm just saying that if you take Ohtani out, yeah, it's you're going to feel that. And so when people say it with the Yankees and Aaron Judge, it's like, no shit. But he's on the Yankees. Like, the guy's on the Yankees. The guy's on the New York Yankees. You can't take him off the Yankees. Well, if he gets hurt, if Aaron Judge gets hurt, they could acquire Shohei Ohtani, and I'd still be like, man, I don't know if they're going to win the World Series this year without Aaron Judge. Because it's Aaron Judge. He's the best hitter or the best player on planet Earth right now. Again, I would like them to bring back Bellinger. I would like them to add one more right-handed bench bat. Could be a cheap guy. Could be like some like minor league signing who kills lefties and doesn't really like have a lot of motion on the market. Like, that's fine. But they need a guy who can bring a stick against lefties. And you know, I think we underrate Yankee players who do not have World Series championships. That is what I think happens. We underrate players who are not on World Series championship winning teams. We overstate, overrate, and under consider the flaws of a team that won a World Series, the journey, the struggle for that team to win the World Series. Ask a Dodger fan in mid-August how they felt about their team. Ask a Dodger fan when they were down 3-2 in the World Series if they thought they were going to win the fucking World Series. All right, Nick Torres. Let's talk Nick Torres because Zachary mentioned him. Like, let's talk Nick Torres real quick because he is a cheap right-handed hitter, I guess, right now, and he's on the team. Nick Torres, trying to find the Savant page. I'm sure he'll pop up on Roster Resource. Right, you'll pop up on Roster Resource. Where are you, buddy? Man, where is he? Torres, Nick Torres. He's not on Roster Resource. That's crazy. Nick Torres, here we go. All right. Nick Torres in the – he doesn't even have his stats pop up on Fangraphs. That's how obscure of a league he was playing in, fellas. Nick Torres in the it wasn't just the Mexican League. It was the he was actually playing in the Dominican Winter League as well. Was he playing in the He was playing in the Mexican League? But, like, which Mexican League? The one with, like – oh, wow, the one with the Diablo Rojos. Okay. So 86 games, 345, 7 average, 425 on base, 730 slug. Remember, the league environment in the Mexican league is crazy because of altitude. The altitude out there is crazy. So, like, the league average OPS is 844. You got to note that, right? Like, you've got to note that. But even knowing that the league average hitter absolutely crushes offensively and that it is a crazy offensive environment, Nick Torres was still really damn good. I mean, dude, we've got – oh, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. Look at the wrong league. Didn't Cano hit 400 once? Dude, guys just mash. And Cano did dominate in that league. And it should be noted that Cano is not, like, he was not good at that point. He was an old man who couldn't get major league reps and struggled in El Paso with the Padres AAA team to stick on. But Nick Torres, is the second best qualified hitter in the Mexican League. He hit 27 home runs, third most in the Mexican League. 32 doubles, tied for the most in the Mexican League. He actually had a higher OPS than Robinson Cano, if that gives you a little bit of pause. Now, Zach, I don't think I would hit 200 over there, but I do think it is not impossible that like college guys could probably go over and do some damage. I wonder what Aaron Judge would do in the Mexican League is kind of my question. So yeah, I mean, look, if he can hit lefties, that'd be cool. But I don't anticipate that being the case. Yeah. Brandon Moore says, Ryan, I think the Yankees will still get Tatsuya Mai. I doubt it. I will press doubt on that one. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, super chat from Jonathan Carizzle. Thank you. Happy New Year Happy New Year to yourself. Sign Bell and your family as well. Sign Bellinger or wish for Tucker. Get lucky with the Mai and trade Heel, Dominguez, and Estrada for relief arms. I'm assuming it's with Estrada or for Estrada. I think Jeremiah Estrada would rock for the Yankees. I would love Jeremiah Estrada. Would love Jeremiah Estrada. Like, this would be great. Jeremiah Estrada would be awesome. Oh, and Escara. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, with Escara. Yeah. That makes sense. Escara would make sense for them. Yeah, I think Escara would also make sense for I think Escar would make a lot of sense for a lot of teams because he's a catcher. So, yeah. I think a lot of teams could just use a young catcher. That's kind of where I'm at. It's all good. I am a klutz typing too, Jonathan. Yankees will be without Rodon and Cole until May. Rodon until, I think, early May. Cole until June. Aaron Judge with an orange stealth in course. Give Aaron Judge an orange stealth in where the Diablo, like, give it in Mexico City, excuse me, and see what happens. Because in Mexico City, I think it'd be even crazier than course. This guy would hit 70 home runs in 150 games. Just putting that out there. And the thing that people kind of underrate about these areas too is that usually these places kind of have deeper fences to accommodate for this. So even if you're like, oh, well, 70 home runs feels light, he's also probably hitting 400, 450. Exit velocity matters when it comes to batting average. This is something that, again, I think people overlook when it comes to batting average and exit velocity, because people always like exit velocity is just some new age thing, and the new age baseball fan, they're coming to take your batting average. They're going to take your batting average. They're going to round up your batting average, and they're going to take it. No. Batting average improves if you have a high exit velocity. Let's do an experiment here, fellas. We're going to do an experiment, fellas. We're gonna do an experiment together, fellas. We're gonna do a custom reports. I'm a Fangraphs fanatic. I've learned how to use this site almost inside out at this point. Almost. Not there yet, but almost. We're not where we want to be. We're not where we need to be. Jonathan Carrizzo, another super chat. Thank you, Jonathan. Get Estrada and Jojo Romero. What would it take? Estrada, I imagine, is costing you one of your top 10 prospects. I would kind of throw Bryce Cunningham in this, but do they want a major league starter? Probably. Like Luis Seal, 3 years of Luis Seal and 3 years of, or I guess 4 years of Jeremiah Estrada. Escara, throw in, maybe they need Dominguez? No. Yes? No. Yes? No. For Romero, cheaper probably, because like he's a rental and he's a ground ball guy, doesn't have the overpowering stuff. So I'll say like, yeah, I think that's what I would have it at. Is that crazy? I don't know if that's crazy. I have to map this out. I really would have to map that out, Jonathan. I'll do an article on some stuff like this. Let's look at this right here. Exit velocity, guys. Now, obviously, the top guy being O'Neal Cruz is not great for this theory here, but Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Schwarber, again, not great for the theory, but still, this isn't a league average batting average at this point. This is slightly better than average, better than average, better than average, slightly better than league average, better than average, slightly better than average, obviously not good, slightly better than average, very unlucky, Ben Rice. Elite, look at let's I think this is a better way to do it. 300 average guys. How many of them don't hit the ball hard, right? It's one. Jacob Wilson. It's one. Top 10 batting average guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them hit the ball over 90 miles per hour. Wait, is that wrong? 1, 2, 3. No, 5. 5, yeah. And if you look at average exit velocity, I think the only 2 guys who are below average here are Nico Horner and Jacob Wilson. So you've got to hit the ball hard. If you don't hit the ball hard, you are not going to hit for average in the big leagues. That is a TLDR, fellas. That's TRD. I guess if you want it to be more like solid sample size, you should look at 3-year splits, because like Luis Arraez is obviously going to be number 1 here. But if you look at a 3-year split, look at the top 10 batting average guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the top 10 batting average guys above 90 mile per hour average exit velocity. You've got to be able to have that skill. And I'll say this because, Luis Arraez is always going to be the conversation when it comes to batting average and, is Luis Arraez a good player or not? If Luis Arraez could play defense, Luis Arraez would have a job right now. Luis Arraez's issue is not that he can't hit. He can hit. Luis Arraez can hit. Everyone's aware of this. He's not a great hitter. He's a good hitter. He's not a great hitter. He's a good hitter. Last 2 years, he's been barely above average offensively in terms of OPS, but he's a good hitter. Bad ballpark for a swing, too. Bad ballpark for a swing. That should be noted. No power he can get out of San Diego. But he's such a bad defensive player. That is why no one wants Luis Arraez. That's the magic behind this. He's slow and can't run and doesn't play good defense. That's why no one wants Arraez. If he could play defense, he was a league average base runner. This guy's a perennial 3-WAR player. This guy, if he could play second base defense at a decent clip and he hit 300 every year, he's getting signed. He's getting signed. He's signed immediately. The Yankees were traded from years ago. Let's see what else we got. Judge in Cincinnati would be great as well. Yep. Overpay and get JT Realmuto to back up Wells and back up Bryce at first base. No, I'm good. His defense has not been great. No Cole in May or June. He's not going to be anywhere close to 2024 performance level before 2027. It's possible, but I wouldn't say it's impossible. It's not possible. I think I would agree that you should temper your expectations on Garrett Cole. Like, that's where I'm at. But I don't believe it's, like, to the point where it can't happen. So, yeah, I don't really, that's kind of where I'm at. It's a really stupid conversation on my end because again, sometimes it feels like I'm talking out of two sides of my mouth, but I'm just trying to remain nuanced in all this. 10 hitters to be positively affected by ABS. Don't think it's being talked about enough this offseason. That'd be a fun article. I'll try and dig into that. Rip slap hitters. Yeah, it's just that defense is too good. Athletes are too good. Reaction time is too good. So, like, it's just easier for these guys to get to the baseball. Hey, what do you think the Yankees' next move will be? I guess signing Bellinger. I guess that's what they're waiting on. Arraez hit 350. Now he sells out for not striking out. I believe he only struck out 20 times, but he fell off overall. I think the swing decisions, like, it's a good point to be made that, like, if, like, Luis Arraez was a guy who could get on base without without getting a hit. And now his only method of getting on base is hitting a single. So you're willing to pitch to him in zone. Like, you're going to just attack him in zone and hope he gets himself out. His barrel rate is also cratered. Like, he's got back-to-back years. Like, he had his lowest barrel rate ever this year at 1.1%. This was a guy who hit the ball, like, 88 miles per hour. Like, 3 year. Let's look at the 3-year peak of Luis Arraez, 2021 to 2023. 3-year peak, 88.6 mile per hour average exit velocity to go with elite level spray. I mean, the spray is just stupid here, right? Like, high line drive rate, not a lot of pulled ground balls. The 2023 year, not a lot of walks, but the lowest striker rate at that point of his career. And then as Zachary Note just kind of keeps, like, forcing it. Like, he started just chasing a ton. I think 2023 gave him a complex in terms of what he thought his swing could be and what he should be as a hitter. And now he just swings at bad pitches to hit constantly. Because when he wasn't chasing a lot, this guy was an on-base machine. Like, he walked a healthy bit, and he also never struck out. And I think he's got to go back to that. But I don't think he's ever going to go back to that because I think he's kind of found his tool. Maybe an organization who's smart kind of brings him in and fixes that. But, like, if you're an organization that's smart, why are you signing Luis Arraez to be an everyday player? It's all contradictory. He's kind of put himself in a tough spot. Again, this is all because he's not a good defender. If he was a good defender, this would not be a conversation. Alex Verdugo got work for years as a, like, league average-ish hitter because he figured out how to field in left field. So, yeah. Let's see. Didn't Derek Jeter not hit the ball hard and hit almost 300 every single year? Number one, different era. Like, different era. Different era. Much different era in terms of, like, baseball. Defenders are different. Shifts are different. Information different. So, it's a different game. You can't really compare that, number one. Number two, we don't know that he didn't hit the ball hard. We have no idea that if Derek Jeter actually hit the ball hard or not. And if you watch Derek Jeter play, like, Derek Jeter's not some small dude. Derek Jeter is, like, ridiculous in terms of physical specimen at the shortstop position. 6'3", filled out his frame well, had some pop. He wasn't, like, a slim guy, like, obviously in good shape. Not saying this to say he's fat or anything, but, like, in good shape, filled out his frame, wasn't a twig out in shortstop, hit for some power. Like, Derek Jeter could hit for power. Derek Jeter had some home run power in the swing. There is no way for us to measure it, but I don't know, man. When I watch Derek Jeter play, like, I never was like, wow, he doesn't hit the ball hard. So, again, that's an eye test thing. I can't really, sit here and tell you eye test is, I can't tell you my eye test tells me he hits the ball hard, but my eye test tells me that, this was not a slap hitter. You cannot, like, there's no way he's someone who, like, was a Luis Arraez type. Watch him hit. And again, different game. Everyone didn't hit the ball as hard. Guys didn't train hit the ball hard. Defenders weren't that good in terms of, like, mobility. We didn't have shifts, things of that nature. Like, we did not have half of the data that is forced think of everything that's forced guys to sell out for power. Increased velocity, better pitches, better pitching infrastructure, better pitching technology, better pitching development, better arm care. Guys who throw hard are staying healthier than ever before. Hitting defense, everyone can move more. We've got shifts, what tendencies, exactly the percentages of how often a guy pulls the ball here or there. You can get a step or two on some fly balls you wouldn't have gotten to before, and you still got the closeout speed to get to the balls that you don't have that extra step on. It's stupid. It's a ridiculous set of variables that have changed baseball forever in the past 15 years. Next year, do you see the Yankees going after Horner? Sure. I mean, Jazz at that point be a free agent, and, I imagine there'd be in the second baseman market. I don't know how hard they'd go after Horner, but, and I guess I don't even know if he'd even be in the market, right? Like, would he even be in the market? So, yeah. Let's see. What else we got? Arraez could be a fun bench bat for a team, but I can't see him starting every day with the lack of defense. Yeah, it's just that you'd have to DH him. You'd have to DH him or playing at first. But as someone mentioned, the Rockies thing is actually you, Zachary. Like, yeah, if you put him on the Rockies, that'd be fun. I would watch. I'd pay to watch. The volume of balls in play would matter. He hit it soft, 30% can land in. Hit harder, maybe less balls in play, but a higher chance to turn ball into hits. Yeah, it's a math equation, and it works both ways too. If you don't have enough quantity of contact, it doesn't matter how hard you hit the ball, because even if you have a high batting average on balls in play, or even if you have a high, OPS on balls put in play, if you don't have a high volume of balls put in play, it changes. Like, it works both ways. Contact quantity and contact quality is a seesaw. You usually have to give one to get the other, and you need to find the perfect balance for your swing to maintain that. And you as a hitter, you got to constantly adjust it, make tweaks. Give some power here, give some contact there. Later in your career, guys tend to start giving in some contact for power, trading in contact for power. For Aaron Judge, for example, there was a little bit of worry because in 24, I think I was reading some stuff back then where the intercept point, he was catching the ball early in 24 when he was struggling. He was catching the ball deeper in the zone than he usually does and missing in zone more than he usually does, which could have been a sign that he started to his swing was starting to give, that he had to compensate for a lack of barrel bat speed by swinging later. But look at this year, he's catching the ball more out in front this year than he has in years past. So, that I'm not saying Aaron Judge is definitely going to put up the same numbers he did last year. I mean, it's ridiculous what he did last year. You simply cannot project a hitter to do what he did last year. But it's to say, there are signs. Pete Alonso, there are signs for Alonso that it's not going to age gracefully. Intercept point started to give a little bit. Caught the ball 8.6 feet inches out in front of the plate in 23. We're down to 3.9 in 25. Whiff rate went from in 23, 26.2 to 25.6. Hasn't changed, but when that intercept point starts going, at some point you can't keep catching the ball that deep and still hitting home runs. But different conversation. That is a different conversation. Do you think the Yankees are not making much moves next year because of the lockout and something we don't know? No, I just think that they're really in on Bellinger, and they don't want to do anything to compromise that financially, despite my decrees that that's nonsense. So, yeah. So, yeah. Let's see. Let's see what else is going on here. I'm trying to just find more questions. Sorry. Garrett Cole in 2022, not his best year, but put up a 3.50 ERA. I think he can pull that off in 2026. Here's what I'll say. It is not fair to make that comparison because, and just stick with me here. Hold on to me here, fellas. Well, that's a little bit suggestive. Hold here, fellas. Hold with me. The Garrett Cole struck out everybody that year. And I simply don't believe Like, I think Garrett Cole, 3.50 ERA, like, I'm not wrong on that. I just want to, like, the shape of that 3.50 ERA is going to be not what it was in 2022 if he puts up a 3.50 ERA. So, yeah. All right? Yeah. Okay, that's where I'm at. Let's see where else we're at. Do you see Framber going to the Mets, Orioles, or who? My final guess, and I could be wrong. I'm always wrong. I'm so wrong all the time, fellas. Like, I want you guys to know this. My guesses are almost kisses of death. But I feel good about this prediction, which is what I said before my other wrong predictions. I think that he ends up signing a 3-year deal with opt-outs with the New York Mets. High AAV, and yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. High AAV, opt-outs, New York Mets. That's my guess. And yes, he has the qualifying offer, Jonathan, so do not believe that's going to happen for the Yankees. Ryan, are you down for Yandy Diaz? Yes, as like a hitter, but he has no place defensively, unfortunately, on the team because they're not going to bring in a pure DH. Yeah. But I like Yandy a lot. I do. Was Judge's batting average this season mostly from BABIP? Yes, I think his BABIP was higher than it will be in 2026. Got to get my years right. His BABIP will be lower than it was in 2025 and 2026. I think it was 376 this year. Hit 331 as a result. But I still think he's going to hit for a high average. The reason Aaron Judge has a high batting average on balls in play. Remember, his career batting average on balls in play is 349. I think it'll come down, but it's not going to be like 300 probably. I think it'll be like 330, 340. This comes back to how hard he hits the ball. He hits the ball so hard that his batting average on balls in play is ridiculous. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with Aaron Judge. He's going to, I think, hit 300 plus again this year. The pulled groin year elevated Cole's home runs that 1 year. Yeah, I remember 21. That was a bad finish to his year post-season 2 because of that. Do you think Bellinger's mad that Stan was with his old lady? No, they're adults. These aren't teenagers. These are adults. What we have seen a dip in case for Cole in 2023 and 2024. Is that velo related? Can a new ligament fix that issue and can reinvigorate him the way that it did for Verlander? No, I don't think he's going to become a whiff machine again. I think he's going to strike out like 25 to 26% of batters faced, and he'll walk like 7% of them, and he'll have like a 17 to 18% strikeout to walk rate, somewhere in that range. And hopefully the batted ball data against him remains not great in terms of like for hitters. Like hitters haven't hit the ball hard off of him those 2 years. He's made conscious changes to fix that location, addition of a cutter. Like those are the things I'm hoping fix. Keep Garrett Cole a really good pitcher in 2026. And I mean I used to say really good, like a good pitcher, like a quality starting pitcher, a guy who is like a number 3, number 2 in a playoff rotation. That kind of guy, not an ace. I don't view Cole as an ace anymore because of the injuries. Like I just don't think you can bank on that. And the 24-year, like, is it weird because he got injured and came back and he didn't have enough like a runway after the bad 4 starts? But like that's going to happen potentially this year because his command's probably not going to be that good. I mean, I don't really know. So yeah, we need to subtract Volpe from this team. Addition by subtraction. I think you just need him because he can play shortstop, and like if his glove ends up being good again, then he's not a bad baseball player. I think that's part of that conversation for me. I know I come off as like a shill with Volpe, but like I don't know. I don't like. I think that 2024 season is not out of the realm of possibility for him, and I simply believe that 2024 season was a good year. He was a good player, not a great player, a good productive player who hits 9 for you, and you're happy with him hitting 9th because of the defense, and hopefully he can hit a little bit more than that, but I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see what else we got. Austin Hayes for extra bench piece. I would love Austin Hayes, the 4th outfielder, because then you can sit Grisham against lefties and put Bellinger in center field if you were to bring back Bellinger. That would just make so much sense for me. Again, I know that's idealistic. I don't think they're going to spend the money to do that because they're the fucking Yankees, and I kind of hate that that's the way that that's used, but they're going to spend enough where it's, I think, over $300 million, but not enough to push past like 320. Like I don't think that's happening. Again, like, is it spoiled for me to be like whining and complaining about it? Sure. But like at the end of the day, I'm a Yankee fan. Like of course I'm going to whine and complain about it. And if you are a Yankee fan, you know you're spoiled. It just is what it is. Bichette is the bull this lineup needs. He's a really good hitter. And you know, I think I've changed my tune on Bichette as the offseason's gone on. But Bichette's the modern example of a contact hitter. Yeah, I mean, he still hits the ball hard. He just doesn't like rely on it. Like he hits the ball. He has good quality of contact, but it's like good exit velos with excellent spray data. So, yeah. What else we got? So the Yankees finished last with the current roster. No, they're better than the Rays. I think they're better than the Orioles still. I think this is a team that can still compete for the division. It's just that you're kind of like forecasting that the Blue Jays are going to walk away at somebody else. Like you expect them to at least re-sign Bichette. If not, bring in Tucker. And that's where it's like, fuck, right? But if you bring back Bellinger, you add an impact starter, you add to your bullpen, you know, you do what you got to do. If the Yankees check their boxes, you know, I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but I think they're going to be fine. Like, I think they're going to be a good team, and I'm excited to watch them next year. Crazy the lack of rumors, news on top players. Not reading anything on Tucker, Bregman, Cody, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy mood swing. It's crazy. I think 80% of his pre-operative performance by 2027 is reasonable. I think this year they'll have to slow walk Cole back, just like the Dodgers did with Ohtani. I would love them to slow walk Cole back, but you need starting pitching depth to do that. Would you like Okamoto for third base? Obviously, but that's not going to happen. Judge is still in his peak, and the Red Sox might become the Astros, sort of. Can't do nothing. No. The Astros... Look, I got to explain something to you guys about the Astros. There's the thing that uniquely makes the Astros was that they were running out, you know, these 100-win teams every year, and they beat you every single time you played them. By virtue of you beating the Red Sox once, they simply cannot be what the Astros are to you right now. Is it possible? Sure. Definitely possible they could start just walloping you in the postseason. But I no. For me, it's just different. What the Astros represented was a wall you were never going to break through. Because they were so good. They were so good. And it's just different. I don't know what's wrong with my mic. Like, I don't understand what's good with OBS in my mic, dude. Like, I'm gonna like try and I don't even know, dude. I don't know what's good with OBS in my mic right now, man. I really don't. Hold on. Properties, advanced audio properties. I'm just going to dial this thing up. Why is it negative? Hold on. No. Never mind. Whoopsie daisy. We're going to up the dBs on our... Tell me if this is any better. Like, is this louder at all? Okay. What would you do as Mets GM? I would acquire... Okay, if I was the Mets GM, Fuck, what am I doing? Shit. Okay, what am I doing? Okay, I know what I'm doing. I am trading for Freddie Peralta. I'm acquiring him. He's in the front of my rotation. Freddie Peralta's on my New York Mets. If I'm David Stearns, general manager of the New York Mets. My next move is I'm going to sign. I don't want to use trade capital any further. I want to sign a hitter. I'm going to be opportunistic and sign Cosmo Okamoto. I'm going to sign Cosmo Okamoto, improve my offense. Now I've got a front of the rotation starter. I've got Peralta, McClain, Minaya, Peterson, Holmes, Senga. Like that's fine. I'll live with that. Bullpen, I'll live with my bullpen. I'll add a bullpen arm. I'm going to bring in. I'm going to sign Anthony Dominguez. I'm just going to say screw it. We're going to keep adding. Now I need outfield support. I'm going to go out there and add Austin Hayes, and I'm going to trade for Lars Nootbaar. I've done that. I'm done. My team's set. I've got a platoon in the corner outfield. I've got enough offensive firepower. I should be good to roll. I'll trade Vientos if I have to. Like I've got firepower. I'm good. Add 2 bats. Add a starter. I think I'm good on the bullpen. Honestly, we're good. Yeah, I'm winning the World Series with that team because I think Cosmo Okamoto is really good. I think he's a steal on the market potentially, and at the very least, he's a good platoon hitter. Plays multiple positions. Should be able to get him on a cheap deal. Let's keep it rolling here. If I was the Mets GM, I would trade Soto to the Yankees for Yerry Dos Santos. That's also fair. If you were operating from the perspective of trying to be a Yankee guy, but yeah. Let's see. Mets should get Tucker and Bellinger. I do not think the Mets should sign Cody Bellinger. I've said this again. If the Mets offer him a 6 or 7 year contract, ha, morons. That's where I'd be at. Ha, morons. Because how could you possibly suggest that? Right? Like, how could you possibly suggest that? How could you suggest that you would want to give a 6 or 7 year contract as the GM of the New York Mets to a player who simply does not provide the offensive value he would provide you at Yankee Stadium because he does not fit that ballpark well at all? Citi Field, not a place where you want to be doing stuff like that. Just my opinion. What are your thoughts on the A's? They were a promising core. Yeah, they've got a promising core. Good young players. So, yeah. Stearns would want Hedrick and Cashman with Nick Soto deal. Okay, man. Frank the Tank would yell Bellinger. I think it'd be like Jason Bay joke because Bayinger. I'm gonna start wrapping these up here soon, though, guys. We're over an hour into this, and I'm kind of beat. I can't lie. Now, before I do that, I'm just gonna make sure I answer all your questions. So we're gonna start wrapping these up soon. But what are your thoughts on the A's? I like their offense. They need a lot more arms. Mets sign Tucker. They should. I don't think they will. How many years you're talking about? 6. Okay, man. Okay. Where do you think Amai ultimately signs? The Chicago White Sox. What are you doing if you're GM of the Yankees? I signed Tucker to a 8-year, $310 million contract. Opt out after year 2. No, opt out after years. Options opt out after years 2, 4, and 6. Yankees can decline the 4th-year option and the 6th-year option by adding on a year in 9th year and a 10th year to cancel out each continuous option. Each of these options are structured to have $30 million club options, so it could raise the total value of the contract to $330. Excuse me, I'm going to make it $35 million, so it increases the total contract value to about $380 million, if my math is right on the top of my head. It's a high annual average salary hit, but I don't care. It's Kyle fucking Tucker, and your team rocks. You go trade Jason Dominguez. You go get a starting pitcher. I'm getting Mackenzie Gore in a deal with Jason Dominguez involved. Maybe throw in Spencer Jones if needed. I am trading for a reliever. I am doing what it takes to keep everything else cheap on the roster to make sure that Tucker is here, secured, signed, and on the Yankees. For a reliever, I'll go trade for, like, Garrett Clevenger. Like, I'll splurge in terms of, like, trade piece. I think that guy rocks. Minor league contract, I'll sign some guy to a minor league contract to be a starting pitching depth guy. Herman Marquez, I floated out there because he throws kind of hard, and he was the Rockies, and the Rockies are terrible as an organization. So if you take a Rockies guy, maybe you can make him better. Point is, I've got Tucker, I've got Gore, I've got Clevenger as a reliever. Not the guy who's not Mike Clevenger. I hate him. Garrett Clevenger, big lefty reliever on the Rays. Tons of velo, tons of swing and miss. That is the best team in the American League. You are the best team in the American League. Now, if you go, Ryan, you can't sign Tucker. Fine. What I would do is I'd sign Bellinger to a 5-year, $140 contract. It's not where I'd like to be, but, like, got to give to get. Same process, trade for Gore. I would trade for Clevenger, and I'd sign a reliever as well, cheap reliever, another flyer guy. I don't know who that would be. And then, of course, bring in a minor league starter, same kind of process there. I'd also sign Austin Hayes to kind of be my platoon guy with Grisham. So I'd make up for some of the offense I'm not getting with Tucker with that. And if I lose Bellinger, I'm signing Bo Bichette, 5-year contract, options after year 2. You can decline the year 2 opt-out by giving him a club option for 2026 valued at $32 million, which it would be a 5-150 deal. Again, opt out after year 2. So you can hit the market again at 29. Actually, no club option. Screw the club option. 2 years, 2-year opt out. No club option stuff, so he can just hit the market, so he can decide whether he wants to hit the market again at like 29, 30, or not hit the market at all. Yankees would get a top-of-the-lineup bat. You'd feel good about your offense with Bichette here. I would, man, I don't know what I would do. I don't know how to configure the infield. I can't lie. My other idea was, like, sign Framber to a 3-year deal, opt-outs after every year, sign Austin Hayes as your platoon player with Dominguez, and and trade for a reliever, and then you'd have like a ridiculous like a stupidly good rotation. Hope the offense is good enough. If not, trade for a bat deadline, that kind of thing. So yeah, we need Dax Kilby to rise through the minors like Soto or Kurtz. Yeah, it'd be great, but it's not going to happen. Bring back Wandy Peralta. I'd trade for Wandy. Why not? I just joined. Did you discuss Amai? Yes, and I said he's probably not signing here. If Amai gets $100 million or less and the Yankees weren't in, I think we have a serious issue. I agree. Framber will throw at Rice's head, and if he does, I'm fighting him. I'm boxing him. I'll box him. I'll box him I'll run out on the field. Me and Framber will duke it out for that. So is that fair? Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I'll wrap things up here. I really appreciate you guys tuning in here on Fireside Yankees. And again, thank you guys. Thank you so much for what's been an incredible year. We love you guys so much. I mean, it's been an incredible ride throughout the year. We're so lucky to be able to have such an incredible audience. Happy New Year to you and your family. Again, you guys have just been incredible. Again, if you can like and subscribe, that'd be great. If you've already done these things, again, thank you. And I can't keep saying thank you enough because it is a special thing to have the job I have, but it's an even more special thing to interact with the community as incredible as you guys. I'm going to keep tinkering with the overlay so that the chat isn't squished like this. Like, I'll work on this. Probably just, I think my game plan, and I just cuffed it. I think my game plan would just be to do this and just, like, extend it down. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But really really appreciate your support, guys. Have a happy New Year. Stay safe. Stay warm. It's cold in the Northeast area. I know some of you guys are in Florida. I envy you. Although I heard it's like not warmish in Florida right now relative to those standards. But anywho, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Yankees.